Incident in the 118th minute when Chelsea goalkeeper Kepa refused to leave the pitch after being attempted to be substituted by Maurizio Sarri in favour of Willy Caballero. Kepa looked to have been injured, suffering cramp towards the end of the game. Sarri wanted to put on Caballero, who is a penalty shooter expert, having saved 3 for Man City in the 2016 final against Liverpool. But Kepa refused to leave the pitch, and it descended into a bit of a farce with 2 or 3 minutes of Sarri and Gianfranco Zola attempting to persuade Kepa to leave the pitch. Kepa refused. Sarri stormed off down the tunnel, came back. Kepa stayed on the pitch and was unable to help Chelsea win the penalty shootout. So in the end, you could argue that it was the wrong decision for Kepa to stay on the pitch. It certainly looked like he was defying his manager, so it wasn't a good sign for the kind of harmonious relations of the Chelsea dressing room. So Sarri's come out after the game and said it was a misunderstanding, that Kepa was right not to leave the pitch because it was an injury that he could play with, but still it looked like a show of defiance from the player, and it didn't really suggest that Sarri has control of the dressing room. But ultimately it's also Man City story. City, first leg of the quadruple is achieved. They won this trophy last season, they've retained it. 1 down, 3 to go. Can they still fight for the quadruple? Well, the second in the Premier League after Liverpool drew with Man United earlier today. They've got the FA Cup quarter-final to come, in the Champions League also. They look quite well set for the quarter-finals, having beaten Schalke in the first leg in Germany 3-2 this week. So it's looking good for City. It's first leg of the quadruple. It's going to be a big ask, but they've not won down today, and you have to fancy them to win at least one more trophy this season.
To blame?
Sorry. Absolutely. You know, with him going down the tunnel and turning his back and walking back to the... He's sending all kinds of messages. You know, if and I believe Kepa understood that he was only coming off because he was injured and he's telling everybody he's fine, when he sees the coach turning around and walking back towards the bench, then in his head, he's thinking, OK, I'm still on the field. You know, Sarri has to stand at the side and he has to be calm. You have to be able to think about things. You know, misunderstandings happen. So you have to be cool under pressure, understand the situation, and you stand your ground, and when he gives it all this, you say, no, you're off. And you stand there until the referee tells you you can't any longer. You don't run out, you don't go back to the bench, you don't run around throwing your arms about. You be strong and solid and make it very clear exactly what you want, and that's what's going to happen. He did absolutely none of that.
The argument against this whole misunderstanding, as we welcome Gab Marcotti to the show, is the fact that there was going to be a tactical substitution no matter what the health of Kepa. Gab, Willy Caballero had been warming up for a good 15 minutes before the apparent cramp, and therefore, because of Kepa's reaction, Sarri didn't go through with the substitution, and obviously we saw what play out happen.
That's obviously the conspiracy theory. I don't know where it comes from or what the basis is. I mean, I personally agree with Craig on this one. I don't fully buy the substitution. I think Sarri let himself down because it does feel as if he's covering for Kepa here. Because you know what? It's fine that Kepa can signal that he's okay, but when you see your coach on the sideline absolutely losing his rag like that, then common sense would suggest that maybe you jog over and you talk to him and say, look, I'm absolutely fine. There's been miscommunication or whatever. And then you run back on. So I think Kepa definitely bears a ton of responsibility here as well. This idea that Caballero was going to come on anyway because he's a better penalty saver, which of course he is. It's a nice idea, but I don't think has any basis in fact or in anything anybody on the Chelsea coaching staff is saying.
Well, I suppose the argument is, Gab, is why is he warming up then? What's he doing warming up during extra time if the intention wasn't to bring him on?
Well, he was warming up because they thought Kepa had a problem. Remember, Kepa had a hamstring problem before. I think he went down for the first time in the first half even, and he'd been clutching his leg several times. Maybe it was just to waste time to get the penalties and stuff, but that's basically why Caballero was warming up. I mean, look, he's coming on to save penalties. He doesn't need to go and run up and down the sidelines for 20 minutes if he's only coming on Tim Krul style to save penalties.
Liverpool are top of the Premier League after a 0-0 draw against Manchester United at Old Trafford. It was a strange old game. United were forced to make 3 substitutions in the first half. Rashford clearly wasn't fit. Yet Liverpool didn't capitalise on what was surely a golden opportunity to make it 3 points lead at the top of the table as opposed to just the 1. And you take a look at the match stats and they sum it up pretty well in that Liverpool Didn't really create anything, just one shot on target. In fact, you could argue that United looked the more likely to score. What went wrong, Stevie? If I offered you this at the start of the match, 3 of United's substitutions would have to come in the first half. You'd have taken it. And yet, Liverpool didn't.
Well, unfortunately, going forward, the front 3 are firing blank. You know, I can't remember them ever being, the 3 of them, ever being so poor at the same time. You know, Salah's had spells where he hasn't scored at the start of the year, and Firmino sometimes hasn't knitted it together as well. But every single thing is going wrong for the 3 of them now, including Mane. So
these stats are incredible compared to last season. The difference of goals.
Well, I think what you need
17.
I think what you need to add to that is last year teams were defending a bit higher, giving a little bit more space in behind. So the 3 of them had more time and more space. They don't have that. So you ally that into the fact that right now the 3 of them are out of form, then you end up with the draws that Liverpool are beginning to pile up.
Welcome into extra time. What a day.
What a day, yeah.
Quite exciting, really.
I mean, things are going great for Sarri, aren't they? I mean, it's like...
Mark Ogden did a brilliant tweet, didn't he? Just before all the Kepa stuff kicked off. What did he say?
It's been a good day.
Pretty much, no matter what happens, it's been a good day for Sarri.
Even if Chelsea lose now, it's been a pretty good day for Sarri in the circumstances.
And then it all went wrong.
When it's all going wrong, it's all going wrong.
First tweet, spend the whole show on the League Cup final and Fiorentina versus Inter because those matches deserve it. Drama at the end of both, of course, Inter because of the late penalty for the so-called handball. You didn't think... You thought it was handball, I'm trying to remember. Yes.
You did?
The Inter one, late Inter one.
I wasn't listening to you because I was thinking about the Chelsea City game.
All right, what were you thinking?
No, I was thinking it's a shame because right at the very start of the game, there could have been a red card, but we couldn't see it. They never gave us a...
No one was expecting it.
No,
maybe
the referee gave a foul.
Maybe Jorginho knew that. Come on, there's going to be no camera on me. Boom.
I don't know if did he raise his arm? It was hard to tell.
But the referee gave a foul, and Aguero went straight down on a heap, holding onto his face, and the referee's given a foul. So,
if he doesn't
go
see
figure.
it,
go figure.
The cameras don't have a
By the way,
definitive angle.
Do you know what I hate?
What?
You know Jorginho in the second half?
Yes.
Was it Sterling or Sani that was going through?
It was Sterling, where he kicked the ball and ran past.
I think you should be getting red cards for that. Because it's not... You know, it's not like a set piece, right, where you can block somebody, right? Or you're half a yard away from somebody and they're too quick for you and you block them. When you're standing 6 yards away and every single person watching this is going, oh, you know what's coming here. He's going to make no attempt for the ball. All he's going to do is rattle him. And of course, what does he do? Makes no attempt for the ball and just runs after him.
This is your
That has to be a red card.
It's your anti-Jorginho ways against it.
No, not at all.
So
No,
if that
I hate
happens,
that.
if that happens in his own half or in the
I
opposing
don't
half,
care where it happens, Craig. If oh, nearly got.
Go on, where are you going?
No, if I'm that far off somebody, and you know that they're going to knock it past me, and all you're doing is lining them up from 6 yards to just rattle them, that's got to be a red card.
So you should go to the why don't you go to the
IFAB meeting.
Why don't you go to the IFAB meetings instead of Shaka and say, I want every infringement to be a red card?
Okay.
How many players will be left in the field,
I'm not
Gab?
saying that at all. Oh yeah, how many people did you see doing what he did today?
Well, but it wasn't a denying a clear goal scoring
I
opportunity.
don't care.
Oh, clearly.
When you just have when you have no regard for a player and you just go straight for him to kick him, it has to be a red, surely, isn't it?
Okay. What do you think would happen if Kepa pulled that off under Simeone? Simeone.
Oh, well, I thought Sarri's reaction was pretty fierce.
Go on, Gav.
I know the answer to this. Diego Simeone would have run directly onto the field, because we've seen him do this before, and he would have physically dragged Kepa off the field, and maybe along the way, Kepa would have had the opportunity to explain the misunderstanding. But yeah, there's no question. But you know, equally, you run onto the field, then you get booked and sent off. So it's not the cleverest thing. But there's no doubt in my mind that were this ever to happen, and by the way, it would never happen to Simeone. That's what would happen.
Well, I don't think you're right, Gab, because I think you missed something out. Diego Simeone would have run out of his corporate box where he was serving his band. Then he would have ran down the stairs. Then he would have ran on the pitch. Then he would have dragged them off up into the corporate box. But you're absolutely right. I mean, clearly Sarri was furious about it, but he went in the wrong direction. He went away.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have dragged him off by his collar, wouldn't you? Next few days are going to be interesting now. I mean, how this all gets sort of buried and flares and Wednesday's team selection and blah blah blah.
I actually had the opposite problem once when I was coaching at the Boston Bulldogs.
And what happened, Stephen?
Somebody didn't want to go
2
on.
minutes. There was 2 minutes to go in a game in Jacksonville, right? And the guy who was actually the manager at the time, John Kepa, he was just done. It was like 1,000 degrees.
Right.
There was only 2 minutes to go. So I said to this guy, a guy called Eunice Conte, and a really nice guy. But 2 minutes ago, I said, Eunice, come on, you're going on the last couple of minutes. And he went, nah, you're all right. He said, there's only a couple of minutes to go. What's the point? And I went, sorry? And he went, what's the point? Doesn't matter. And I went, I did exactly that. I went out and said, hey, get your top on, get over here now and get yourself onto the...
And did he go on?
Of course he did.
I've got one in that scenario, and you know this one. And this is from a big game. And I'm going to leave out the names.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, it was Portugal playing in the Stadium of Light, the old Stadium of Light, against Scotland in a proper international match. And Portugal was shellacking Scotland 5-0. It was before my time playing for them. It was like... And the manager at the time looked along the bench at 5-0 down and asked the player, who said to him, get stripped, you're going on. And the player looked back along and went, get stuffed. I can't be any clearer than that. Get stuffed. So yeah, it happens, you know. But
Tevez Mancini was what I thought straight away.
well, I can't remember.
Do you remember during the Champions League? I think it was against Bayern Munich.
Somebody just tell you that? And
No, I remember, honestly, I don't remember any of these things.
Tevez, Tevez.
He refused to go on, didn't he? Right.
Anyway.
Gab, what's going on with Gareth Bale? Should he have disrespected his teammates by refusing to celebrate that penalty with Lucas? Of course, if you didn't see it, he scored the pen. Everyone went to hug him and he was like, get off of me. I hate you all.
I don't know, but that guy clearly has issues. With the goal celebration the week before, and then it feels as if people are taking pot shots. Marcelo saying that, you know, he's been here 5 years and he can't speak Spanish, which I think Bale would dispute. There are interviews where he appears to be speaking Spanish, but he could just be reading phonetically off a cue card for all we know. And then to the Courtois thing about they all go out to dinner, but it's past Bale's bedtime. I don't know. When you make a decision to go and to act that way after you score in a round, you know, this is Real Madrid you're at. It's the biggest goldfish bowl in the whole world, and you know, 3 days before Clásico, people will talk about this. You will be under scrutiny, and it just speaks to somebody who's, I think, is unhappy and has one or two issues. But equally, you know, he had the opportunity to leave. He doesn't want to leave either, possibly because nobody's going to go and give him the wages that he gets at Real Madrid, and probably no other club that might want him, you know, can match the stage of the Bernabeu. So he's stuck there.
He's not the only one that spent 5 years in Madrid and had scant regard for learning the language.
Yeah.
Are you talking about somebody near here?
Gab makes a good point, though, doesn't he?
Deflect. Don't deflect. Because you arrived here from Madrid and you're Spanish.
Yeah, it's
can be
fair.
described as nothing else than minging.
I spent all my time in Irish bars. That was the problem.
Dan,
Dan, speak Irish.
That was the issue.
Dan, what's the
Spanish people not
headline?
going to Irish bars?
What's the headline in Marca today? I've no idea.
I had a lot of fun, though. Anyway, right.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Gab said, basically, he knows that this is going to cause a stir. Bale knows that not celebrating with your teammates, pushing them away, is going to get caught on camera. Why is he doing it?
Dressing room's a horrible place when you do that.
What, like leaving a game when your team are losing and you're not playing
Yes.
before the end,
Yeah.
incognito,
Yep.
in Madrid.
Not going out for a team bonding dinner because it's too late. You know, it's...
A dressing room's a lonely place when nobody's talking to you, let me tell you. So every single day he goes in, it's going to be a nightmare.
There's no way he can't speak Spanish. Well, I'm not saying there's no way, but
He just
I can't be having it, because the one thing in Steve is that dressing rooms are a great place when you've got good teammates, and the one thing you miss when you stop playing is the banter in the dressing room, because it can be ferocious.
Right.
It can be ferocious, and it can be ferociously funny. But if you can't even get involved in that, it's got to be horrible before you even get on the field to start playing. So he must be able to speak at least some. I don't know.
But
Anyway,
having said all that, it's kind of a weird thing we're judging him on, because can you imagine, for example, Kun Aguero's English is that good? You can't. Is this just kind of getting blown up? Go on,
Dan.
Gav. Yeah.
Dan, one key difference. Most of Kun, and this is something you could have used in your defense when you were working for Real Madrid TV, most of your colleagues were English speakers. Most of Kun Aguero's colleagues speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay? Most of Gareth Bale's colleagues speak Spanish. I think that's the key difference. For a lot of foreign players, especially who live in the north of England, they live kind of in this little bubble where, you know, they have their big house, they have the 3 or 4 restaurants they go to, and they have their teammates. And when enough of them speak your language, you don't really need to go out there and expand your vocabulary beyond a few basic phrases. That's not the reality for Gareth Bale at Real Madrid.
yeah. To be fair, it's only a problem for Kun Aguero when he has to go to the chip shop and order fish chips and mushy peas. It's a bit of an issue.
He's a big
Or if he
fan
wants to
of
nip in the doner kebab and say hot spicy sauce and salad with the doner kebab, bit of an issue there.
Big deal or not, Steve?
What?
Bale not speaking Spanish.
No, I don't think you need to speak the language to get on in the dressing room.
But you need to immerse yourself in the dressing room.
Yeah, you immerse it.
Well, how can you know? How can you get on in the dressing room when you
You
haven't
can
got
just-
a clue what people are
Because
saying?
you just, so you, all the foreigners you've played with, you're telling me every single one of them could speak English.
Eventually.
Right, eventually. So what did you before that? They joined in with the fun,
Yeah.
Well,
right?
they tried.
Well,
but it was quite
exactly,
but it was quite difficult.
but they were still involved. That's all
Every
it's about.
everyone-
is being involved. Listen, if you
Gianluca
you don't
Vialli
need to speak one word. You don't need to speak one word to be involved in pranks and carry-ons and everything else.